These are dark times, there is no denying. Our world has perhaps faced no greater threat than it does today. But I say this to our citizenry. We, ever your servants, will continue to defend your liberty and repel the forces that seek to take it from you.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and this is No Way, the one people love to hate. On this video, I want to look at God versus government. I think they're looking at the atmosphere in America today. This is where we really need to focus, and there's a reason we need to focus there, is because is what are people willing to believe in? That's the scariest part of it all. What are people willing to believe in? I see many Christians today that they've got this spiritual battle going on, but the spiritual battle that they're fighting is in Washington. There's no spiritual battle that is fought or waged in Washington. It's out here that it needs to be waged. And the reason why I say that is, in today's society, people deem government is the higher power. Government makes the rules that we must follow. Now, the problem with a lot of this I've noticed today is that many people want government to pass laws. But no, you don't pass laws against me. You pass laws for me and against those I dislike. Well, if it's a disruptive and ungodly topic, like homosexuality, government's all for it, because it's going to further, many of them that are in D.C. today, it's going to further their attack on God. We're going to force these Christians. We even have now, we have a candidate for the Democrat Party for next year, and he's openly stating that, yes, a church either accepts and acknowledges homosexual marriage and homosexual lifestyle, or we take their tax-exempt status. Well, you already know me when it comes to the tax-exempt status. The reasoning behind it is not the reason for it. The reason behind it is, so churches can do more work in the community with the money they have. But how many churches actually have community outreach? I'm not saying none do, but I'm saying most don't. Most churches that I know of do not have community outreach. Now, when it comes to government, Christians do see government as the ruling authority over them. The Bible states it many times in many places. But the thing is, if you're going to follow God, then why are you voting for people that are ungodly? That's what the Bible teaches. That's what God ordains, the government we have. Why? Because the government we have is a reflection of us. It's a reflection of our hearts, so to say. Well, this guy said all the right things. He's going to do all the things that I want done. But now the question you have to ask yourself is, the things that he's doing that you want done, who do they harm? Do they harm somebody that you don't agree with? When it comes to many of the taboo topics of today, homosexuality seems to be the biggest one. You see, they want government to pass laws to give that community special rights. That community wants the right to go into our schools and convince our children God does not exist. You do not have to be a boy. You do not have to be a girl. You can be anything that you want to be. Where there is no God, there is no gender, there is no right, there is no wrong. So think of these teachers that are pushing this upon the children. Why? Because of many of the people who have been voted into office because, well, nobody seems to care. People don't vote. People don't hold the ones that do vote don't hold the politicians accountable. They don't hold anybody accountable. When I was part of the town government, when I was on the zoning board of appeals, and we were considered an appeals court, we were held to this high standard, conflict of interest, everything. Now the people out in the town, they would hold us as members accountable for everything we did, ethics, the whole 9 yards. But yet when it came to the very people that appointed us, they weren't held to any standard at all. That's the problem. Because who are they listening to? They no longer have God as a guiding principle. So where many people are governed today by the government and they have given themselves over to the power and the authority of the government, and now they deem that their right to worship God comes from the government. Well, I can't talk about this. I can't talk about that. Hopefully Donald Trump will do what he said, and he will get rid of the Johnson Act, and he will end this, the ability for churches to stand up for God and against these politicians who are doing things that are against God. They're against Christianity. There's going to come a day when it will happen. Satan will see to it. The evil that is within our country will see to it. But because so many people have turned from what God truly is, which basically is Jesus Christ, what would Jesus do? That should be the first question. What would Jesus do? When somebody is sitting there on YouTube and they have already been wrong on 2 end times, the world's going to end in this time. Now they're the fear-mongering of World War III. Think of that. This is World War III. This could be World War III. This could be it. It's going to happen in Syria. Oh, that's the right area. And the fear-mongering goes on without them even knowing the truth. They got their truth from Google and, sadly, yes, YouTube, because they're not being given the facts. They're following and put their faith in things that are not true, because what comes out of their mouth is not true. And I warn you of this over and over again, because I see many good people, but because of these falsehoods that they are believing in, these clowns that are claiming they know, they were going to rewrite the Bible, and their only authority is Google. Think of that. a tech giant out in California that is under scrutiny for its blatant disregard to facts and truth. And it's all about indoctrination. Those of you that have an Alexa, ask her, who is Jesus Christ? Because it is run through Google, nobody's going to get the truth of they're not going to get any explanation at all of who Jesus Christ is. When people start calling themselves chosen because of their mind, of what they think they believe in and what they think they see, that's a problem. Because now they're starting to elevate themselves above others, so they will be boasters, they will be blasphemers, they will be prideful, they will be heady, they will be high-minded, and they will despise the doers of good. Like I say, I am no way. The one people love to hate, because I will stand with God, no matter what. I know what the Bible says. I am not going to fearmonger because the government wants you to do this. They want you to believe in them. So you're not following God, you're following your government. Even when you can see what your government is doing is wrong, but you still put your faith in government with no faith in God. This is why we have the government that we have. This is why God is hated in Washington, D.C., but every politician takes the high ground now, don't they? They all take this moral high ground until they get caught in some pedophile ring or some corruption or adultery, and it's just a vicious cycle of wolves in sheep's clothing. That's all it is. We need to think about it. One thing, ladies and gentlemen, what is God? How does God work? Let me show you this clip right here.
If someone prays for patience, you think God gives them patience? Or does he give them the opportunity to be patient? If they prayed for courage, does God give them courage, or does he give them opportunities to be courageous? If someone prayed for the family to be closer, do you think God zaps them with warm, fuzzy feelings? Or does he give them opportunities to love each other?
What you saw was Hollywood got this one right. I have to say Hollywood got it right. We need to understand how God works. We don't pray to God, oh God, I need a brand new car. Poof, and one appears in the driveway. Oh God, I need all this money, please, please, I need this money. And poof, the money appears. Oh no. As the clip said, God is the opportunity. God gives us the opportunity. We asked and prayed to God for Donald Trump to be president because we wanted to save this country. But what has happened since? Now people are sitting back thinking, well, there we go. We got God. We got Donald Trump. God saved us. God answered our prayers. And you're right back to your same old coming into your church as a bottle getting rinsed out, filled with the Spirit, and it's wasted all week long. And you come in, you get rinsed out, you go through the church for the hour, you get filled up, and you waste it all week long. You stop fighting for God. You sat back, and now you're mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump is not doing what you want and how you want and as fast as you want and the way you want it. So why do we have the government we have? God is the ultimate authority. But if you do not hold your government on any level accountable, right down to the schools, if they're not being held accountable for their sinful, hateful, angry, violent ways, then who do we have to blame but ourselves? Donald Trump was not the answer. He was the first step in many that we need to take to come back to God in the righteous way and in the right way, and then we can have a government that we are proud of, not one that disgusts us. And there are ways. You get out there and you demand and you get the people together and you start talking to people. You're not going to talk to somebody and just blurt it all out. You need to work with them, show them, take the time to prove to them that it's a war for your soul. Even if they believe in God or not, and you continue to hammer them with exactly what this Democrat Party is doing, backed by globalists and the members that you don't hear about, the Democrats you don't hear about, they're just the puppets. They're just there to vote the way that their masters tell them to vote. Sadly, many Republicans are the same way. Those rhinos are being exposed at every turn. But you need to stand and fight for God. You do not bow down to the government when they demand that you spit in God's face. We know what that community is, the homosexual community. We know what the Bible calls it. We know what they're doing to our children. And sadly, we all may be held accountable for what happens to our children because we thought that our Twitter and Facebook could be the answer. We refuse to talk to people. We refuse to call people out. You see what I do here on YouTube for you. But if you look through my videos, you will see what I've done for my town. And I continue to stand up to my town. You're going to do things the right way. You're going to be held accountable. I am going to see to it that the people know of what you're doing. We all need to do this, and we all need to do it now because time is running out, ladies and gentlemen. There are too many signs. God is very disgusted with us. That I can guarantee. We have only ourselves to blame. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, as always, until next time, God willing, this is No Way Out.